Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Got Betrayed and Become the Crimson Dragon God of Arcadia Part 1. Before we start, please go support RageRevan and Darkdecade97 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Prologue. Running away. In the heart of a bustling city, where the sky was perpetually overcast with clouds of gloom, lived a boy named Isseiihyoudou. From the moment he took his first breath, it seemed as though the universe had conspired against him. Issei was born into a life that was not his own, a life that had been snatched away from him by the very person he cared for most, his little brother, Dai. Dai, the golden child of the Hyoudou family, was the embodiment of everything that Issei was not. Handsome, charismatic, and ruthlessly ambitious, Dai had always been the center of attention. Issei's innate kindness had been his downfall. His younger brother knew how to manipulate situations and emotions to ensure that the spotlight remained firmly fixed on him. And so, Dai had stolen Issei's life, leaving him with nothing but scraps of a reality that should have been his. Issei had done everything in his power for the people around him. He had sacrificed his time, his happiness, and even his dreams to make their lives better. Yet, despite his unwavering devotion, he was met with nothing but contempt and disdain from those who should have appreciated his efforts. Only a precious few had believed in him, and even fewer had loved him genuinely. The bitter taste of rejection and injustice had become a constant companion. Issei's actions, though often unseen and unappreciated, were the reason why the supernatural world remained safe, hidden in plain sight from the oblivious human population. But his sacrifices were not acknowledged. Instead, he was blamed for the smallest of mishaps, his name used as a scapegoat for the family's problems. A tear fell from his eyes, remembering all the past he remembered from the girls he encountered, their hurtful words still imprinted inside of his head. Having a relationship with a liar like you, no thanks. Issei clenched his fist in anger as the voices of the girls continued. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be with someone like you. Issei almost had another tear falling from his eyes as the voices kept continuing. In his mindscape, images of the girls that rejected him were seen, but they were unable to be differentiable. Are you being my partner? Don't make me laugh, I don't desire trash like you. The voices kept continuing as another spoke in his head. I thought he was a good friend, but he is just as rotten as the trash around him. Issei almost fell down as another voice came in his head. Stay away from me, I don't want to hear excuses from someone who is jealous. Two more tears fell from his eyes as voices kept popping inside of his head. You're just trash, Naya. Issei saw a family photo which showed his parents and his siblings as another voice came inside of his head. You're just jealous that I admire Dai-sama and not someone like you. Issei grabbed the photo frame and was livid seeing those faces of those that were supposed to be his family, yet they treated him as garbage. Engrave this in your head, we will never be a couple. He flung the photo frame, sending it crashing towards the wall. The photo frame shattered completely as the photo fell to the ground, as Issei walked towards the photo and picked it up, not caring for the glass that was stinging his legs, almost causing them to bleed. Issei was not sad anymore, he was angry as well. I'm sorry, but I don't want someone like you as a partner, since someone like you would set a bad example for my daughter. Issei tore the image into multiple pieces as tears fell from his eyes. He did not want a family like this that looks down upon him. He hated this, he hated them. The final voice spoke inside of his head. He saved me from Nyx, and I would rather kill myself than be with someone like you, who is nothing more than a deceiver and a liar. Issei spewed some flames, burning the photo completely as a final yet taunting voice came inside of his head. This is something you will never enjoy. Issei was about to begin the chant of the Juggernaut drive. He had enough life force to at least put Kuo 6 feet under, and if things don't go well, he could care less. He wanted to ruin those that were in Kuo at the very least. He started to chant. I, who shall awaken? Issei's gear came to his side, but just as he was able to speak the next line, when partner, no, it's not worth it, this is not what you intended to do tonight. Remember, Issei widened his eyes, realizing that this is not what he intended to do tonight. Tonight was the day he planned to leave permanently. One fateful evening, with nothing but a small bag of belongings and a heavy heart, Issei made a decision that would change the course of his life. He walked away from the prison of his past, determined to leave it all behind, and he never looked back. Issei saw the duffel bag that had all of his stuff. He picked it up and brought out his 2 dragon wings. He jumped out of the window and reached the ground. As he did, 3 people teleported near Issei. The first was described to be a tall woman and had black hair and red eyes, and her hair was raised all the way down. Additionally, she wore a white school shirt along with a red jacket and black leggings. She additionally wore a skirt and heels for the trip. They both were waiting for their flight announcement. The second person was described to be wore a noble black and red dress, decorated with beautiful roses and black fishnet stocking. She wears designer high heels shoes. She also wears a crown formed from roses and a golden necklace with a bright red jewel attached to it. While the third was a tall and handsome man with a specially designed eye patch on his right eye and long, stylish silver hair that spikes up at various spots on his head. He's shown with a leaf-like pattern tattooed across his forehead, a spike choker necklace lined, and a bead-like earring on his left ear with many smaller piercings. His attire is shown to be quite formal and extravagant, with a collar that spans all the way to his upper chest, and badges decorated on the left and right side of his coat. Finally, he wears long white jeans and a pair of shoes filled with square patterns. Nyx, Persephone, Hades. Issei looked to them, with the first one identified as Nyx spoke. "Ice, are you ready for this?" Issei nodded. He took a look at his old home, which was almost like a prison, one final time. He frowned as he spoke. "Just one last time, I will visit this place to see if there are anything that I have left behind." The trio nodded in understanding, as they all knew what Issei was going through. Persephone spoke with a concerned tone. "Honey, I am worried for Ice." Hades sighed as he understood his wife's concern with utmost attention as he spoke with a sad tone. It is him getting closure on his past. He did so much for them, and he was not even treated with love or respect. Truth be told, I am more than happy being considered a rogue god at this point. Even the two that he truly loved chose his disgusting brother over him. I really detest what the factions have become. Even Athena is blind to what they have become. And I am not sure about Shiva and the Hindu gods and what they think of him, but they are the only ones that did not hate or look down upon Issei. Persephone nodded in agreement as Nyx clenched her fist in anger and spoke. "I really wish to kill Ingvild for what she had done. She is the reason why he is so depressed and decided to leave those ungrateful pricks to their actions, although I am concerned for what they would have done had they found out if Issei was the Red Dragon Emperor." Nyx spoke with sadness, to which Persephone responded. "If they had killed Ice, I would have personally killed Dai for his involvement. That disgusting bastard has no right to come near me or Ice, especially after he turned Ingvild against him." Persephone spoke with anger in her voice, to which Hades responded. "Your anger is understandable, but we need to keep ourselves in check. The factions are more or less his dogs at this point. They do what he asks them to do, and you will only be endangering your life." Persephone grits her teeth in anger, as she could only watch the situation helplessly. Back with Issei, he was inside his room, where he opened the fridge. He saw that there were several hundred bottles of Diet Coke. Issei used magic and created a separate dimensional space that had a cooling system. He looked at the place. They were all celebrating the defeat of Nyx, which had taken place a few weeks after the sealing of Trahexa. The kitchen was thankfully away, with Issei being on the top floor. He then heard someone's voice that would anger him to no bounds. "Hey, useless." Issei turned around to see his brother Dai Hyoudou. He had fair skin with brown eyes and brown hair. Issei looked at Dai, who had spoken with a mocking tone. Issei sighed in response as he spoke with an annoyed tone. "What do you want, Dai?" Dai had an arrogant smile towards his brother as he spoke. "I am here to thank you for everything that you have done for me, Nai-san." Issei internally fumed hearing his words. However, he calmed down. He was not interested in dealing with Dai right now. He headed outside, not responding to his brother, which made his arrogant brother angry as he held Issei's shoulder, causing him to respond with an annoying tone. What Issei continued as he responded, "If you are here to waste my time, then please leave. I got better things to do than deal with your arrogance and flaunting attitude of yours." Issei was about to walk out when Dai spoke with a grin. "Oh, but am I? The fact that I have touched Ingvild at several locations, including her butt and her breasts, makes me feel so." I was not able to complete as Issei straight up punched Dai in the chin, almost breaking his jawline. Dai was sent flying, crashing to a nearby wall, with Issei putting a sound barrier which prevented anyone from doing anything. The reason Issei was able to do so much was because Drag taught him everything he had to do with magic. He even learned a magic that had specialized in memory reading, allowing him to steal and read the memory of strong magicians like Lefay, Lavinia, Roswis and Gondel without them even realizing. Since in most of their eyes, Issei is nothing more than a useless brother that had nothing he could do. Drag and Great Red helped him in any way they could. As a result, Issei learned much quicker than anyone could ever do so. Dai shouted angrily, but before he could do much, Issei started to crush Dai's chest as he yelped in pain. "I am done listening to your pathetic flaunting brother," Issei responded by kicking Dai in chin, almost cracking it. He then stomped his leg back at his chest. Dai coughed up as he glared at Issei with anger and hate in his eyes. Issei slightly had a small flinch. He never truly understood why Dai had this much hatred towards his brother, nor did he know why he just wanted to make his life miserable, from spreading rumors to taking his achievements and taking the girls that he loved. He really did not understand. "I am wasting my time here, goodbye, Dai." Issei took his leg off Dai's chest and walked out of the door. He had left his bags outside, as Dai spoke with a mocking yet angry tone. "Oh, I will tell about you to the factions. I will make sure that they will torture you and harass you no matter what happens. They will torment you until the very end, and no will support you." Issei Nai-san. Issei gritted his teeth and walked towards him. "Drag, boost my legs 10 times. I am going to make him remember me." Drag agreed in response as he spoke. "I was waiting for you to say that. Here you go." Drag mentally responded to Issei as he transferred the power needed by Issei. He positioned himself between his legs and with a swift motion, he kicked towards his crotch in such blinding speeds that nobody could see. The strength of the kick was powerful enough to break both of Dai's balls, crushing it to nothingness. Dai screamed in pain, holding his crotch in complete pain as Issei walked away, but not before speaking in a haughty tone. Please do tell them, and even tell them on how I overwhelmed you and crushed you like an insect, and even tell them on how much of a fraud you really are. Issei walked away as he soon reached downstairs. As soon as he came down, he saw everyone looking at him with a frown, like as if some sort of plague has entered. Where is your brother, Hyoudou? The person who spoke was Rias Gremory, the pampered princess that Issei was familiar with. He sighed as he spoke. Don't know, don't care. Issei walked outside, as Rias asked again. Where is he, Hyoudou? He went upstairs to your location. Rias was soon approached by the rest of her peerage, all of whom had frowns as Issei spoke. Not my problem, didn't encounter him, wherever he is, that is his problem. How about you try looking for him instead of interrogating me? Issei spoke as Rias was left speechless for a moment before Asia spoke angrily. You should be knowing where he is, and if you don't. Issei cuts her off and speaks coldly and mockingly. You are going to attack a regular human, a weak human, you are better than that, aren't you? Which Issei's words made Asia shiver as they all remained silent, with Issei speaking. That's what I thought. Issei closed the door, not caring for what these people had to say, as he left the room. The Gremory peerage, who was angered by Issei's actions, wanted to follow him, but Rias stopped them, as she spoke with spite. There is no need, he is just a useless being, we should be enjoying ourselves. Asia, look for Dai-kun. Rias spoke to Asia with a smile who nodded in agreement. She soon went upstairs to locate for Dai. Back with Issei, he had came outside and was greeted by his real family as Nyx asked with concern. Are you alright? Issei gave a nod as he responded. Yes, I am fine, just had a few hiccups, but that's all. Felt really good putting Dai in his place. Issei spoke with a slight smile. As Persephone spoke. You should have recorded that, I would have loved to see his condition. Issei was about to respond when Hades suddenly got a communication circle. Yes. Very well, we are on our way. Hades looked at the other two and continued. Melano and Macaria have already reached the dimensional gap, it is time we head there as well. The trio nodded as Hades opened his magic circle and created a portal to the dimensional gap. Issei created a magic bubble, as he knew the dimension gap was known to be unstable. The bubble prevented the residents from being hurt. He knew that they would be fine, but he did not want to risk their lives. You know, I would have been fine here, right? Hades spoke with a smile, as Issei responded. Couldn't take the risk, especially with this place known to be unstable. Issei responded with a smile as Hades and Persephone were happy by the care Issei showed for others, even when he knew that they would be alright. Issei was surprisingly adept with magic. After he learned memory read, he was also able to see the memories of Arthur Pendragon and Ajuka Beelzebub, allowing him to read and create magic spells that allowed him to travel across the dimensional gap without a problem. After traversing through the gap for a while, they come across a huge dragon, was a massive red western dragon with a horn on his snout and has 2 sets of wings. His overall length measures around approximately 100 meters. The dragon looked at the 4 guests that had approached his domain, he then spoke. So you have arrived, hatchling. The dragon boomed to his guests, as he knew who they were. Issei walked forward and spoke. I believe we are ready, right Great Red? To leave this place, forever. The one now identified as Great Red, spoke with a grin. Indeed, hatchling, Office and the 2 goddesses are waiting for you. Issei nodded as Great Red led Issei and the others to their location. He soon encountered 3 people. They were all in a different protective bubble. The first is of a cute young girl with long black hair down to her hips and black eyes. Her ears differ from a normal human's as they have pointed tips, although her long black hair makes this feature difficult to notice. Her dark gray eyes have reptilian slitted pupils. This was Office. The other 2 were Melano and Macaria, the twin daughters of Hades and Persephone. Macaria was described to be a fair-skinned beautiful lady, with a flower on her head, and she wore a blue-colored gown, with a purple stomach plate, and 2 bracelets which were purple in color. Macaria's hair was also wavy and smooth. Melano, on the other hand, was described to be tan-skinned lady, whose hair was curly, unlike her sisters. She wore a similar clothing, except hers was red, and she wore her blue bracelets near her upper arm. Melano, Macaria and Office Issei called out to the trio, as they all look at them and have a smile. Melano waved her hand back to Issei as she spoke. Ice-chan. Melano happily greeted the trio as the bubbles form a singular one. Issei then spoke with a smile, as he hugged the 2 sisters. They were more of his siblings than his actual birth siblings. The 2 sisters also returned the hugs as well, with them speaking. Is there anything else left in our old world? Macaria spoke with a serious tone. She was the serious among the twin, while Melano was the more cheerful one. Nope, none whatsoever. I am done with them, and I am more than ready to move on. Issei spoke seriously, before changing to a concerned tone, as he spoke, speaking of which, who will handle the underworld while we are going to leave? The Nados and Charon will take care of the underworld, and if we have a way of contacting with the other world, we can find a way to talk with the two of them." Issei nodded in understanding. He couldn't be any more grateful of his new friends and family members that are coming with them. "Thank you guys, despite me not being part of your family, you all are willing to come with me to start a new life elsewhere." Issei spoke with the utmost gratitude, to which Hades responded. "It is the least we could do, you have done so much for me and my family, you brought back Persephone back from the dead and found a way to rescue her soul from the depths of purgatory, no words can describe my gratitude for you." Hades spoke with a genuine smile, with Persephone agreeing to it. He risked his life for them, and even for those that looked down upon him, especially those from the factions. They couldn't be any more grateful for this. "Come on Ice-chan, we don't mind coming with you, besides, you are like my little brother too, now let's head to this new world." Melano spoke with a genuine smile, as Issei almost teared up. Office then spoke. "You helped me experience emotion, took care of me when I needed someone, even went so far as to try and save me from Shalba. You did a lot for me, and I don't mind coming to this new world. Now let's head there." Issei nodded in understanding as he spoke with a genuine smile. "Well, let's go, you ready?" Great Red gave a nod and generated a white portal which would take them to a different world. They walked into the portal, which closed down, leaving the dimensional gap left with nothing. Scene change. Unknown location, 9:30 p.m. Issei and his group managed to reach the unknown location. They were amazed by the city's futuristic design, stunned by its advanced technology and power present here. Great Red transformed into a smaller, more dragonoid version of himself, so as to not look a bit intimidating in this new world. The others were also stunned by this location as well. "Great Red, where the hell did you take us to?" Great Red spoke with a smile. "This is the legendary kingdom of Arcadia. I have heard rumors of its existence, but I never thought I would be seeing this place in person. The place is well protected, preventing any interdimensional travel. We should probably find a place where we all can settle down." Great Red explained his thoughts as they walked around the place. They saw that there were humans and humans with animal parts freely walking without any problems. Office then asked, "Who are these people, Baka Red?" Great Red did not know how to respond. He just came to know the fabled kingdom of Arcadia is a reality. Issei noted that they seemed similar to Yaokai, with him speaking. "I think they are similar to Yaokai from our world. Regardless, we should probably head to." Issei was not able to complete when he saw several soldiers rushing to his location. As they aimed their weapons at the guests present, gaining the attention of all the Arcadian citizens. They wore a white helmet and a white cover plate, which was heavy plating. They held a rifle in their hands. Issei noted that it to be a futuristic armor suit with a breastplate and helmet from a sci-fi film. "Put your hands in the air, unknown beings." The soldiers aimed their weapons at Issei, and his group as one of the beings walks forward. She was a young female warrior, stands tall, clad in shining black armor, and wields her mighty sword against a backdrop of lush greenery. Her long blonde hair flows freely, and situated on top of it was a crown. She wore black arm guards on both of her arms and a white skirt that was flowing down. "Stand down, men, I will take it from here." The woman spoke as she walked towards Issei and his group with no fear inside of her heart. Issei did not want to make it seem that he was a threat as he walked forward without any fear. "So you have no fear, young man, what is your name?" The woman spoke with a serious tone, to which Issei responded. "My name is Isseihyoudou, and we come from a distant far land. We just wish to stay here, and these are my companions." The others nodded in agreement as the woman then asks, "Are you from the Four Kingdoms?" Issei and the others were surprised as he responded, "Four Kingdoms? We don't understand." The woman shook her head as she spoke. "You know, Atlas, Vale, Mistral and Vacuo, are you from any of those locations?" Issei shook his head and spoke. "No, I do not. I come from a planet called Earth. If you want a precise location, that is all. We all come from this planet, so we really don't know the four locations you mentioned." The woman sighed as she spoke. Jean Arc, and judging by the way you speak, it seems you are from a different world. Just like the Queen's current husband who came from the Four Kingdoms, the now identified Jean was looking at the new guests that had come here. She had to make sure that they are not enemies. "Very well, all of you follow me, we will be meeting the Queen." Jean spoke with a serious tone as they all headed towards the royal castle, as they knew that is where their new life would begin. They continued to walk across the Arcadian territory, watching the scenery of the highly advanced city of the legendary Arcadia. They were amazed by the high standing of the palace that was Arcadia. It was made out of sleek marble and other materials, with banners of the Arc clan being put around the castle. Nix muttered, looking at Issei. Amazing. Issei also was surprised by this, as he continued. "Indeed, it almost seems like to be on par, if not supersized, that of the Gremory castle." They all continued to walk inside, where they saw several guards that had been guarding the location. The guards wore a blue and white medieval tunic with a sword holstered around their hip. Additionally, there was a cape around them, and they wore a gold paladin helmet on their head. The cape was supported by a yellow star, and they wore golden boots. They saluted Jean upon her entrance and were intrigued by the new guests in the castle. "Come follow me, just a little more, young man and his companions." Jean motioned Issei and his family to walk ahead. They continued to see the interior of the castle as they watched it in interest. The throne room was elegant looking, with a perfect-sized throne for a person to sit on. The interior seemed to be well decorated with marble design, with designs of white and brown on it. The Arc clan emblem was present here as well, on banners and posters. "Empress Juniper, Sir Nicholas, I have brought some guests from the other world." Issei and his allies looked at two people. The first was a brown-haired woman dressed in a dark-colored dress. She wore a hat like Hyoudou that covered her hair and had a belt holstered around her hips. The skirt had a floral pattern with a belt holstered across her hip. Her sleeves were also well decorated and she wore gloves. She also wore a black leggings and golden heels. The second was a man of light blonde hair, it was long and flowing. Blue medieval-style clothing, wearing what looks like armor on his chest and legs. He held a bow that was holstered from behind. "Jean, who are they?" The woman's voice was gentle. She was also curious as to who her new guests were. Jean nodded and spoke. "This is Isseiwhatif, and this is his family." Juniper looked at Issei, who seemed to be a bit nervous. Drag had mentally spoke. "Partner, this woman, I have a gut feeling that she is pretty strong. Be careful." Issei mentally understood. He wanted to create a good first impression towards the Empress of Arcadia. He looked at Great Red and Office, both of whom seemed to be a bit weary of her. Even Hades and the goddesses along with him were equally nervous as well. Sensing their nervousness, Juniper spoke with a gentle smile. "You mustn't be nervous of me, everyone. I am not going to harm or hurt you in any way, although I wish to know, how and why did you come here?" Issei walked forward and spoke. "I am from the planet Earth and we all reached here by mere chance. We only wanted to never go back to our planet. We wish to start a new life in this new world." Juniper narrowed her gaze for a moment and sensed Issei's emotions. They seemed to be disturbed and saddened, but why? Why did it seem to be that way? "Issei and your group, what are their intentions, and second of all who are they?" "Oh, they are from my world. The first is Nyx, the primordial goddess of darkness." Issei pointed to Nyx, who greeted Juniper with a smile. "This is Great Red. He in reality is a huge dragon. The form he has taken is his dragonoid form, which is just a short version of his current form." Great Red spoke with a cheerful tone. "Greetings, Emp." Juniper understood his tone to be almost similar to a certain someone of her life. While Issei was a bit concerned, Great Red's attitude could pose some problems to them, as Juniper spoke. "It is nice to meet you, Great Red." Great Red gave a toothy grin, which was expected from a dragon like him. While Office frowned seeing his attitude, she still was not a big fan of the side of Great Red. Issei continued with the introduction. "This is Office, the dragon goddess of infinity." Office greeted in a monotone voice. "Hello." Juniper nodded as Issei spoke. "And this is Hades, his wife Persephone, and his daughters Melano and Macaria." The four respectfully greeted Juniper, whom smiled in return. She took a moment to think on what she should do with them. Issei noticed from the corner of his eye, Nicholas did not seem to be happy with new visitors coming here. Issei wondered what was his problem, however he decided to not question it now, since he had to ponder on what Juniper's resolve is going to be. After a moment, she spoke. "You are welcome in Arcadia, young man. Normally I do not let outsiders come here, but sensing your intentions are not meant to harm, as well as you not from any of the four kingdoms, you exist outside of them, from a world that I never knew about." Juniper spoke with a smile, causing them to cheer with happiness, as she looked at Issei and spoke. "Even your Great Red, as long as he behaves himself and does not use his stunts and end up destroying Arcadia property, you all can't stay. Almost all races from your world are present." Office and Issei sighed in relief, as he forgot to introduce someone from his friends. He then spoke. "Oh, I forgot to introduce you to Drag." Here, the boosted gear came on Issei's hand as a voice spoke. "Greetings, Empress of Arcadia." Juniper was surprised at first, before she realized that Drag must have been sealed here, as Drag explains who he is. "My name is Drag, the Welsh dragon and the Red Dragon Emperor. I am Issei's partner and the dragon of domination. My powers are that I can boost to an unknown limit and have flames that can even kill gods and immortals as well." Juniper nodded in understanding as she spoke with a smile. "It is surprising to meet you, Drag. A heavenly dragon that wields the power of domination and can boost to an unknown limit. You and your partner Issei will make a fine ally to Arcadia." Drag nodded in agreement, to which Juniper spoke. "Although you can stay in Arcadia, the first thing I would advise you all is to head to the JROTC academies and decide what you all want to do next, alright?" They all nodded in agreement as Juniper gives them some money so that they could rest and find a home for themselves, as they all bid their farewell and left. Nicholas then spoke. "Are you sure they are meant to be here? For all I know, they can be a threat." Juniper shook her head and responded. "No, they are not. The three among the group are pure dragons, including the one in that weapon of his, and I know that dragons are rarely deceptive, considering I am one of them." Nicholas retorted in response. "But they are outsiders." Juniper frowned at her husband's words as she retorted. So are you, and your case was from the Four Kingdoms, yet you were still taken in and loved by my family. I don't think you have the right of criticizing them, well you yourself were a worse case as opposed to them, is that clear? Nicholas remained silent as Juniper spoke. That's what I thought, now let's go and head to our room. Nicholas seemed to have a frown, but couldn't refute his wife's logic as they both went inside to rest for the day. Scene change. Hyoudou residence, 10:45 p.m. The orc had looks of shock and horror present in their faces, especially Asia, who was desperately healing her love Dai. His balls were completely crushed, with the latter having an embarrassed look as he remembered on how Issei humiliated and embarrassed him. Syrzicz soon teleported to this room and was horrified to see his brother-in-law's condition as he asked, "Who did this to you, Dai?" Dai seemed silent, he refused to tell them on what exactly happened as he spoke. "Someone attacked me in the dead of night, I was coming here to drink some water and someone ambushed me, he damaged me so badly that I did not know what to do." Dai spoke with anger in his voice, to which Syrzicz frowned at this. It could have been someone from the Cows Brigade, or more accurately its remnants that did this, as suddenly a communication circle opened up as he asked, "Yes, Azazel?" Syrzicz asked, to which Azazel told him something that shocked and horrified him as he spoke. "You've got to be kidding me." Syrzicz gritted his teeth in anger as Rias asked with concern. "Brother, what happened?" Syrzicz spoke with a sigh. "Nyx has escaped her captivity, someone has released her from her prison." Azazel tried to contact Hades, but he was nowhere to be located. When we saw, he had abandoned his duty in the underworld and Thanatos had taken his place, with him stating that he was no longer interested to be a part of the alliance. Many were shocked and horrified by this, as some of the others also noticed Issei to be missing as well. Ingvild was hyperventilating as she remembered on how Nyx kidnapped her and used her for her own purposes. Had it not been for Issei, or how she assumes Dai, she would still be under his control. Ika then spoke up. "Hey, has anyone seen my brother?" Ika asked while many frowned upon hearing him, to which she responded, "Even he has been missing, Issei, Nyx, Hades, they all have been missing, and now the attack on my brother Dai. I think something is off here. When was the last time Issei was seen?" Rias was the one who spoke as she spoke with a frown. "I met him while he left from the house, we asked Dai's whereabouts, but he did not know where he is, he was even rude and abrasive towards us, I could care less what happens to him." The orc girls agreed to this. With Syrzich's sighs. "Anyways, there will be a meeting for this." Zeus is not happy by the fact that Nyx managed to escape and now has been considered a rogue goddess, with Hades also being considered as such. "Dai, take rest for the night, recover what had happened to you." Dai nodded, albeit in a defeated manner, as Asia and Ika helped their brother up. Rias and the others also settled down for the day as Syrzich's teleported back to the underworld. He knew what had happened today will bring some problems to the alliance and everything that they had done so far. They could care less for Issei, but what happened to Dai as well as the disappearance of Nyx and Hades could pose an additional problem. They had to deal with it as soon as possible. Chapter 1. Settling down in Arcadian Academy. A few days later, Issei and his family have already settled down in Arcadia. He remembered the history of the kingdoms. The entirety of the kingdom of Arcadia was made by the four founders of Arcadia, who were the daughters of the immortal Grim Queen Witch Salem and the wizard Ozma. They were Aurora Arc, Aurelia Arc, Anastasia Arc and Opissei Arc. They were the images that he had seen while he was walking across the academies deciding on what he needed to do next. Juniper personally decided to take him around. Issei was considering having a mastery in magic since he was quite adept with magic. He realized this when he was able to see and create magic that even top-tier magicians of his world would struggle. That was how he created concealment magic, which allowed him to hide Drag for so long. He knew if the factions found out about Drag, they would do anything in their power to remove Drag. He would never part with his best friend, and he would destroy everything if they would attack Drag. Another thing that took interest was the academy, which he wanted to create technology weapons that would benefit Arcadia and himself. He had a few ideas in his head. Speaking of the others, Nyx, Macaria and Melina was interested in many of the academies, with Macaria being interested in Strixhaven Academy, meant for those that were highly intelligent, while Nyx wanted to learn magic just like Issei did. And finally Melina was still deciding on which academy she wanted to go. In the meantime, Office and Great Red decided to go to the Dragon Kingdom, where they were welcomed without a problem, given that they were dragons. However, Office wanted to stay with Issei as well, which Issei suggested her that she can visit him anytime. Hades and Persephone also were interested in the academies, with Hades being interested in Megalocene Academy, where he would love to learn about military strategy, while Persephone wanted to head to the Academy of Carano. They all have decided to agree on the said academy. "Hey Drag, what do you think we should begin?" Issei spoke, to which Drag spoke. "I'd say we should head to the Magic One, that being the aptly named Magic Academy." But I would say you should prepare yourself for that one. From what Olivia Ark spoke, it is supposed to be one of the hardest academies to get into. Issei nodded in understanding, as he then spoke. Now I wonder when are the entrance exams going to happen? Issei spoke in deep thought, as suddenly a voice was heard. In that case, you are in luck, Issei-kun. Issei was startled by this presence, as he turned around to see a familiar figure, as he spoke. Oh, it's been a while, Empress. Issei greeted the Empress respectfully as he continued, what do you mean by in luck? Juniper spoke with a smile, as she continued. The magic exams of the Magic Academy is going to be within 2 days, it is hard to get in, so I'd say you should be prepared yourself, okay? Issei nodded in understanding, as Juniper then continued. There is someone that would like to meet you, she will be your new instructor. Issei nodded as Juniper chanted a spell which teleported both Issei and herself to the location. Issei and Juniper looked at someone, they saw a female with long silver hair has bangs parted to either side of her face. She had bright cyan cat-like pupils. Her signature wardrobe is a long black coat with silver pauldrons, black boots, a black bra and black trousers. The top of her coat is open to reveal his chest, with her leather soldier suspenders crossed over it. She wields the Masamune, usually two-handed, a 7-foot-long dachi. Ah, Willow, it's been a while. The now identified Willow turned around to see her old friend, as she greeted with a smile. Juniper, good to see you again. Willow then looked at boy and spoke, so he is the boy you wanted me to train. Indeed, Willow, meet Issei, the boy from planet Earth. I believe he and his family come from far away, a place that even we are not aware of. Willow nodded in agreement. While Issei felt dread seeing this woman, he did not know why, but he felt like she is someone that he would fear. Partner, the woman in front of you, she is someone that is even giving me chills. Even Great Red's aura did not give me chills, like she does. I would advise you to not get on her bad side. Issei was stunned by this revelation, as he gulped in fear. Willow sensed his fear and dashed towards him. Before Issei could react, Willow was just a few inches away from his body. She's fast. Issei flinched and became defensive. Despite his fear, he stood his ground. I sense your fear, young Issei. Willow looked down on Issei as she easily towered on Issei. Her 6 feet 1 inch easily surpassed Issei's 5 feet 7 inch. If you have fear, young man, then I would advise you to back out from being my apprentice. I don't wish for you to become my apprentice out of fear. You have a choice, you can either become my apprentice with your own violation or leave with your fear intact. My training will make even the toughest of men back out, so tell me, boy, do you still wish to train or do you want to leave, boy? Willow looked at Issei with a glare. Juniper remained quiet seeing this scene. Many refused to train with Willow because of her ruthless and obsessive nature. Her obsession with Cloud knew no bounds, although she was uncertain about where Cloud was. What would you choose, Issei, run away or power? Many chose to run away, what will you choose? Will you be like the others or be like a new man? Juniper thought seriously, to which Issei walked forward and spoke to Willow while staring her in the eye. He controlled his fear, or managed to do, and spoke seriously. I will be your apprentice, Willow. I will not let my fear guide my life. I shall accept to be trained under your tutelage, Willow-sensei. I refuse to let my fear make my life's decisions. Issei's tone made Willow stunned. It has been a long time since anyone had said this to her. Issei reminded her a bit of Cloud, with his lack of fear, showing her a memory that she had a long time, long before she had a change of heart. Willow and Juniper seemed to have a smile on their faces. Willow then spoke with a smile. I see. Congratulations, Issei, you have passed the first test. Issei was a bit stunned by this, as Juniper spoke with a cheerful tone. See, I told you, Willow, he will pass the test. He spoke without any fear. He is a good kid. Willow nodded in agreement as Juniper looked at Issei and spoke. Issei, it was more or less to see whether you are strong enough to handle the training Willow will set up for you. The first test is to display fearlessness, and you just like we wanted you to do so. Now, we can begin your real training. Issei nodded in understanding as Juniper then spoke. Now, I will leave you to be. Enjoy your training, alright? Issei nodded in understanding as Juniper teleported back to her mansion, leaving Issei alone with Willow. Let's perform our introduction again. My full name is Willow Schnee. I never got to properly introduce myself to you, due to the test. What is yours? Willow introduced herself, as Issei responded. My name is Isseihyoudou. I am the current Red Dragon Emperor. It is nice to meet you. Willow nodded in understanding. She was told everything about him by Juniper, and was requested to look after her. She then spoke with a serious tone. Now, Issei-kun, we will begin our training. I want you to show me what you have gotten. Willow walked to a distance as she unsheathed her adachi and got into her stance. She held it over his left shoulder with the blade curving downward, known in the Japanese sword stance as Tsurugasumi no Kami. Issei activated his boosted gear, something that got the attention of Willow. She knew what it was and what were its potential. Issei summoned a magic circle and brought out a very significant blade. It had typical western sword with a length of 90 centimeters and a width of 12 centimeters, and it has fairy letters inscribed on it to show that it is not the work of mankind. This was Excalibur, the sword of promised victory. I see, so that is your weapon. Issei gave a nod, remembering on how he had achieved the Excalibur in the first place. Flashback to a few months ago. Issei had visited the Pendragon mansion, although he would not be treated as a proper guest, but like always, as a nuisance. He decided to venture away from his friends and head to the lower areas of the castle. Once he did, he saw that there was an empty room. He realized this was an unused storage room, and he decided to leave until he accidentally stepped on a tile which was on the deep right side of the room. Oh shit, what did I do? Issei muttered with worry, as Drag assured him everything would be fine. The room started to shake as the room suddenly changed with a portal situated at the center. He decided to head into the portal, despite Drag warning him to be worried about this. Once he entered, he was in a grassy landscape. He looked around to see that it was nothing but an endless plain of grass, with the exception of a pathway that was leading to the front. Drag then spoke. Partner, I have a feeling that we should follow the trail. Issei nodded as he continued to walk towards the trail, which was situated on the left direction of the portal. He walked on it for a few minutes, until he reached a pedestal which had a sword placed inside of it. Issei was in complete disbelief, as he heard stories of Excalibur. But how was this possible? How can this be possible? And why is there Excalibur present on the stone? He asked Drag for this, who was as puzzled as he was. I also don't know, partner. All I know is that what I see is the Excalibur. It could be fake, or it may even be the real Excalibur. I would advise you to walk with caution. Issei nodded as he walked towards the sword. He placed both his hands on the hilt of the Excalibur. He started to pull it for a while. He knew that he is not worthy, however, again to his surprise, he was able to pull the blade out. How in the world? Issei exclaimed with surprise. He looked at the blade, awed by its design. He still can't believe that Issei was worthy of being the wielder of Excalibur, since this was because Issei never was seen worthy in his life. Michael or Azazel refused to give him any weapon to defend himself, as he gave Ascalon to die. Now, he is worthy to be the king. Before he could comprehend next, a man's hologram came on the screen. He wears a white robe that has a hood and cape-like covering over his shoulders with a lilac triangle trim. His long hair is colored a pale white and lilac. He has bangs as well. Merlin? Issei recognized him, as he had read LeFay's memories by that time, thanks to Memory Red. Merlin looked at the boy and sensed him. Surprise was seen on his face as he spoke. You don't seem to have Pendragon blood, and you are the current Red Dragon Emperor. Who are you? Merlin did not doubt Excalibur's choice, however he was concerned on Excalibur being in the hands of a non-Pendragon. Issei was surprised by this at first. How was he able to sense his sacred gear? But he soon realized that Merlin's magic far eclipsed that of present-day Pendragons or any human magicians. My name is Isseiwhatif. You are Merlin Ambrosius, the closest friend of Arthur Pendragon. You went missing after Arthur's death, aren't you? Merlin gave a nod and spoke with a gentle tone. You have done your research, young man, and I don't have the power to stop you, even if I want to. I have been watching over Excalibur since centuries, waiting for a Pendragon to one day find this room and take the Excalibur, putting me to rest, but who knew fate would have a different opinion? A random boy from a faraway land would be able to lift the sword. Issei felt bad for Merlin. He wanted to keep the sword back in the pedestal, but Merlin stopped him. You must not misunderstand my intentions. The sword chose you for a reason. It is because you were destined to lead one day. Excalibur can't ever be wrong, and it chose you wisely. You were destined for greatness. Isseiwhatif. I have no quarrels against you wielding this blade. Issei was stunned by this revelation as he looked at the blade, with him admiring the blade's design. However, he had many questions as he asked, but how can this be? Merlin did not understand. He assumed that Issei still had doubts as he continued. How can two Excaliburs exist, one being the one in my hands and the other being broken and with the church? How was this even possible? Merlin was stunned and shocked by this revelation. It only took him a moment to realize that someone must have recreated or tried to recreate the Excalibur, only for it to be broken, as he asked. Issei, may I ask who was the one recreated the Excalibur which you speak of? Issei looked at him and revealed everything. Merlin narrowed his eyes. He frowned on the church's action of recreating the Excalibur, and even took down several of the orphans, as Merlin understood everything what Issei told him. He then spoke seriously. I see there is only one explanation. When I took the bodies of the Round Table Knights and King Arthur Pendragon along with Excalibur, the church must have been desperate. They tried their best to recreate the Excalibur, and as I expect, it must have failed miserably. Am I correct in my presumption? Issei gave a nod as he responded. Yes, Merlin, you are right. And what do you mean took the bodies of Round Table Knights? And the king? Merlin spoke with a smile as he pointed to the graves that were present in this dimension. He hid this so that the supernatural does not tamper with them in any way. Issei looked round, seeing the graves of the Round Table and the king all situated, hidden from the rest of the world. I did not want the Excalibur to fall into the hands of the supernatural. It was made by the fairies, and the angels had no right to use the blade. It was meant to be with the Pendragons, but I think that even after so long they did not find it. Instead you, Issei, were the one to even locate this. If the blade were broken or used by the other supernatural, then the fairies will not be happy. They loved and cherished humanity and did not desire for the supernatural to manipulate them. Alas, they still do. Merlin spoke with a sad tone, as Issei understood to some extent Merlin's point of view. Many supernaturals still look down upon humanity. Merlin sensed that he did not have much time left, as he then spoke with a serious tone. Issei, I wish to make a request. Since that you are now the wielder of Excalibur, please accept this request. Issei nodded and spoke with a smile. I shall. Tell me what happened. Merlin spoke with a serious tone. Promise me this, no supernatural of this world will wield this blade unless you deem anyone to be worthy to wield this blade. Until you deem worthy, you must be the only one to wield Excalibur. Please Issei, do not deny my request. Issei nodded, understanding how much Excalibur meant to Merlin as he spoke with a serious tone. I accept and I vow to never let the supernatural of this world wield this blade. Merlin seemed to be satisfied as he spoke. Thank you, Issei. Now I think you must leave. I sense some people coming to your location. Issei nodded as he waved goodbye to the fabled wizard before heading to the portal. Merlin closed his eyes as his hologram disappeared. He knew that Excalibur is in safe hands. Once Issei reached the exit, he jumped into the portal as the room reverted to its old state. He used magic to put Excalibur in a separate dimension when several people entered his room. It was Dai and his friends. Issei, why are you in this location? Issei feigned ignorance as he lied. I was looking for you guys when I got lost. Issei spoke while rubbing his head as Lefei commented. I believe he must be going after other maids in the mansion and must have gotten lost. Some of the girls glared at him in hatred, while Issei did not deny it, seeing this to be pointless to deny at this point. Rias then walked forward and spoke coldly. Just follow us and don't lose us, otherwise we won't be looking for you. Hyoudou. Issei nodded, controlling his anger as he walked with them. It was a good thing that they won't be able to find out what really happened. Drake meanwhile congratulated him for his achievement of being the new wielder of the true Excalibur, as Issei lost his anger and internally chuckled at the factions using false Excalibur for their purposes, not knowing or suspecting that Issei is the true wielder of Excalibur. Flashback ends. Issei gets into his stance, he puts forward his blade as Willow motions him to come after him. He dashes towards Willow, who was easily blocking her strikes. Willow noticed few flaws. She understood that Issei was a power-type fighter, using brute force to overwhelm his opponents, considering his strikes were meant to overwhelm his opponents. Additionally, she noted that Issei can also enhance his strength and other attributes after every boost. This meant that his power will rapidly increase, although she wondered if his body can handle that. The second thing she witnessed is that Issei had no swordsmanship training, since his strikes were unpredictable and reckless. While being unpredictable was advantageous, there is a chance that by luck, the opponent could overwhelm that ability. The reckless part made him even more vulnerable, allowing Willow to attack at several locations, defeating him at many locations. Additionally, Willow noted that Issei's strikes were almost similar to a newbie striking his sword for the very first time. The third and final thing she noticed that Issei often prefers to fight close-ranged, making him susceptible to far-ranged attacks. This was a weakness he needed to counter or eliminate, otherwise it could be a problem. Despite the mentioned flaws, there were several abilities that Willow had to praise him for. The first thing was that being a power-type fighter meant that many of his opponents would be forced to defend himself from his attacks, and the fact that his strength will only multiply along with his other attributes made her flinch, knowing that he could hypothetically reach Juniper or even her level if his body could handle it, keyword being hypothetically. The second thing was that his age, children the age of 19, were not known to possess this level of power and abilities this boy did. She did not know whether he was stronger, and if he was, then he has got tremendous abilities and tricks up his sleeve. The third thing was that due to his abilities, he possessed untapped potential, meaning that he was only going to get stronger as time passed by. Willow was pondering on how much potential he had and wondered if he has the potential to reach the level of the big three of Arcadia. He has the boosted gear and that sword, which Willow noted to be extremely strong and powerful. She felt like he will become a very strong person once he completes his training with her, if he manages to survive her training. Willow decided to end the fight as she closed her eyes. After a nanosecond, faster than Issei's eye could see, she dashed towards Issei and made one slash as she was on the opposite side. Issei was on a different side. It's over, Willow spoke in a cold tone as Excalibur fell down with Issei falling to his knees, gritting his teeth in pain. He saw that his clothes had been torn and there was a gaping wound in his stomach. Using healing magic, he patched his wounds as Willow walked towards him. You okay? Issei looked at her and gave a nod in agreement. Willow gave a small smile. She was happy that Issei managed to survive that. Despite his loss against her, he proved to be persistent. As he got up without any support, Willow helped him a little bit as she spoke. Take a small break, we will begin our intense training soon. Issei nodded as he went to drink some water. Still stunned by the prowess of what Willow was capable of, he drank some water as Drake spoke. At Willow, her speed is really something, Drake commented, still stunned by how fast her speed was. Even he would be unable to detect that, her speed was unmatched, anything like he witnessed. Indeed, our world wouldn't stand a chance against Arcadia if it were to ever go to war against them. I really hope that they don't try to ally with Arcadia, Issei spoke with slight worry as Drake agreed, with him continuing. Or your stupid brother tries to look at any of the Arc family with lustful looks, he will be the reason they will be killed. Issei agreed to this. If Willow was able to easily beat him, he was pretty sure she was not even at her strongest. Either way, they should know better, but if they want to provoke Arcadia, that's on them, Issei spoke with a shrug, as a few moments later, Willow showed up as she spoke. Break's over, I hope you are ready, Issei looked at her and nodded, as she spoke. Juniper told me that in 2 days you have your academy exam, right? Issei nodded, to which Willow spoke, you must prepare yourself, Issei. The Magic Academy exam is known to be the toughest examination in all of Arcadia. I will help you prepare for the examination. So tomorrow, I want to see you sharp at 6 AM in the morning. If you don't, I will come to your house and personally wake you up, is that clear? Willow spoke seriously, to which Issei nodded in understanding, as Issei started his training with a one-winged angel. A few hours later, Issei settled down in his new home. It seemed to be a decent mansion that Juniper had given him and his family to stay in. It seemed to be well spaced with proper rooms and a swimming pool. The training with Willow was intense. She made sure to perfect the stance Issei was in, as he had taken a medieval forward stance, or guarding stance. His full body was in aches, as Willow made him run miles to increase his stamina and tenacity even more. She even asked Issei to not boost his stamina, as her first priority was to train his body and not be reliant on his gear. He soon rang the bell to his house, as a certain goddess opened the door for him. This was revealed to be Persephone, as she greeted Issei. Ice-chan, welcome home, Issei nodded as he asked upon seeing the others missing. Hi Persephone, where are the others? Persephone spoke with a smile. Hades is giving his application for Megalocene Academy, while Macaria is helping Melano decide on an academy. Nyx, like Hades, is giving her application for Magic Academy, while Office and Great Red are with the dragons of the Arcadia. Anyways, I have prepared food for you, Issei nodded as he headed inside. Persephone also added. Oh, and before you eat, take a bath first, okay? Issei nodded in understanding, as he took a proper bath in this new world. While Persephone prepared some food for Issei. He soon came out and spoke. Issei, what are you going to do? Issei looked at her and spoke. Like Nyx, I am also considering to give the application for Magic Academy, and Empress Juniper has asked one of her friends Willow to train me, so I will be leaving tomorrow early in the morning. Persephone took a sip as she spoke. I see, if you'd wish, I can teach you some magic so you can prepare for the exam 2 days later, Issei responded to Persephone. I'd love that, although I will be training with Willow first, and then you can teach me magic, sounds good. Persephone nodded in understanding as she spoke. Speaking of academies, I am planning to go to Academy of Kurano. I wish to learn more about combat classes, and Kurano seems perfect for me, Issei nodded in understanding as he spoke. I see, I guess you can do that, you wish to protect yourself from any attacker, right? Persephone looked at Issei and gave her nod. Her first death will always haunt her regardless of what happens, Issei then assured her. You needn't worry, I will not let anyone hurt you, no matter the cost, and that is my promise to you. Persephone looked at Issei and smiled. She knew she could trust him at all costs, even her family trusts him and treats him like his very own, and that is why she can have faith in him. They soon ate their dinner and Issei went off to sleep. He had to wake up early the very next day. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Issei watching Chibi Juniper teach him on how to transform into a dragon. 2 days later, Issei stood across the academy alongside Nyx, both of whom were prepared for the examination. Many of the students had already entered into the hall as they prepare for the examination. The Magic Academy had an amazing campus, which far eclipsed even that of Oro's academy back from his world. It seemed to be a majestic castle that was supported by entrances leading to different locations of the academy. There were pathways connecting those said entrances that were in the air. Students were walking on these pathways. Just as Issei was about to enter, someone came flying behind him. I hope you are ready for this, young man, Issei sensed Willow flying behind him as she reached the ground. The woman looked at her student with a smile on her face. As she made sure he mastered the magic spell that he was going to learn. Indeed, Willow-sensei. Willow looked at Nyx as she spoke. You must be Nyx, Ice told me about you, it is nice to meet you. Willow spoke with a gentle tone, as she did not want to intimidate someone so close to Issei, like she did in testing Issei. You too, Miss Schnee. Willow smiled in response, as her tone changed to that of a serious tone. Let me tell you a few things, and you too Nix, both of you listen well." The duo nodded in understanding as Willow spoke. "The Magic Academy is tough and resilient. You will have 1 week to master and display any of the spell that they ask you to do so. It can be from advanced fire magic to even any new spell that you are not aware about. There are several ranks that are present if you get picked in this academy, that being copper, iron, silver, gold, platinum, mithril, orichalcum and finally adamantine." Issei nodded in understanding, as Willow continued. "You must at best maintain the rank you have achieved. If you falter you get demoted, too much falter, and then you will get expelled. This is the reason why this academy has the hardest academy to enter and maintain, and why magicians are one of the prized professions in Arcadia, although, I wanted to ask, why not choose another academy?" Issei explained to her. "It is because I want to go to 2 academies to continue my career, the first being in magic and the second being in technology. I wish to complete these 2 academies for now and proceed with my new life here," as Nick speaks. "I too wish to learn more of magic, Miss Willow, and learn more about dark magic and more magic, even more than I already have." Nick spoke, to which Willow looked at her and nodded, as she then looked at Boy surprised while she thought. He wishes to join 2 academies. Not even any of the Arc children have no such intentions. How will he manage this? Willow shook her head as she sighed and then spoke. "I guess it is your choice. I am not going to force you or Nix to change carriers. Well, I will be watching your performance. I expect the utmost best from you Issei and you as well." Issei nodded in agreement while Nix pondered on Willow. She heard from Issei that Willow is not someone she wanted to mess with. And if Issei respected her, she did so too. Willow flew off from the area with her 1 wing as Issei and Nix went inside ready for their test. They met with the receptionist as she spoke. "And you are, young man, young lady?" Issei and Nix walked forward and spoke. "I am Isseiwhatif, candidate 160,400. Check for my number," Issei spoke as Nix continued. "And my name is Nix, candidate 156,789. The receptionist nodded and spoke. "You 2 are there, Nix." Issei head to the room 7, that is where your examination will begin. The 2 nodded as they headed to the examination room. There they were greeted by a woman. She is a stunningly attractive woman with hexy hip length, black hair that has bangs hanging on the right side with 2 ahogues, green eyes, a mole under her left eye, red round glasses, 1 earring on her left ear, and a voluptuous figure. "Good morning, I believe you must be the candidates I was assigned to today. My name is Chisato Hasegawa, and I will be your examiner. Please, can you come forward?" Chisato looked at Nix as she did so. "Now, please tell me which magic will you perform?" Nix walked forward and spoke. "Dark magic, or darkness manipulation," Chisato noted as she motioned her hand towards the glass tube, which consisted of opaque glass, as she spoke. "Alright you 2, there is a staff that will monitor your magic prowess. I want the 2 of you to show a basic level magic spell, and how much you can perform, alright?" Nix nodded as she generated a small orb of darkness. She sent it flying over some training dummies which dealt significant damage, although it did not destroy it. "Not bad, for a base level spell." Chisato looked at her scroll screen and waited for the instructor's approval. "Very well, you have performed quite well. Nix, now show me your strongest spell in darkness manipulation." Nix nodded as she charged up her magic for a moment. She started to generate a black mass of darkness as she threw it up in the air. The room was soon then blanketed in her darkness, which made Chisato completely surprised. Soon the darkness formed into tendrils which Nix commanded to destroy several training dummies without a problem. Nix then spoke with a proud tone. "This is my spell, Dark Sky of the Night. I developed it myself. This is the strongest dark magic spell I can conjure up so far, so what do you think?" Chisato fixed her glasses, stunned by the capabilities of what this woman has done. She is strong for an initiate. "I impressive. Well Nix, would you dispel this darkness so we can continue?" Nix nodded as she was happy that the examiner was satisfied by what Nix had done. A few moments had passed with the instructors giving their remarks to the spell. Many were intrigued by this new initiate. They then gave the signal for the next person to come forward. "Now please, Isseiwhatif, can he come forward?" Chisato spoke looking at Issei as she replaced those dummies with her own magic. She then looked at Issei and spoke. "You may begin with your spell, but tell me which magic are you going to use?" Issei nodded as he spoke. "Fire magic or dragon fire magic." Chisato was intrigued by this as she spoke. "Interesting, please go ahead and perform what is necessary." Issei nodded as he generated a small fireball as it started to burn the training dummy. The instructors did not seem to be amused, as opposed to Nix, who can control the entire sky. Issei's seemed to be more normal for an initiate, which they weren't against, but were expecting a bit more from him. However, they were in for a huge surprise. "I see very well, do you wish to show your advanced magic now?" Issei nodded as he asked. "Miss Hasegawa, I would like if you stand a little behind from your current position." Chisato was surprised, but nodded regardless, as she walked behind, a little bit near the initiates. Issei soon walked ahead as he started to breathe in flames. He then sent the flames towards the training dummies, scorching every last one of them. Even the surrounding walls and the surrounding shields were starting to get burned by the flames. It felt like Issei's wrath raining down on those dummies. The instructors and Chisato herself were stunned as Issei asked her a question. "Miss Hasegawa, can you please apply water on those flames?" Chisato nodded. She was taken aback by the foolish question Issei asked, not knowing the flames Issei used were Drake's flames. A storm of water has applied on those flames, however it did nothing to douse the flames. Chisato was taken aback by this. She looked at the flames in horror. There seemed to be no way to stop it. The instructors were taken aback. They underestimated the boy, but now they knew that this boy was very well adept in fire magic if he was able to unleash that level of flames. Both of their contestants were prodigies. "I call this blazing inferno of scorching flames. My best friend taught me this spell. Not my original spell. Anyways, even if you apply water or cold, the flames won't go, they will keep burning the target all the way down to their soul." Chisato gulped in worry, while the instructors were amazed by the flames. Issei managed to control the flames, only limiting them to the dummies, although the shields were damaged they can be easily repaired, which Chisato did so. "Amazing, I have no words, both of you performed excellent for the test, you two may wait outside, your results will be shared to you soon." The two nodded as they headed out. The instructors were discussing on what rank to give the two candidates. They were all in agreement that the two are confirmed to have a place in the academy. Some of the instructors wanted to give Issei the adamantine rank, while some wanted to give him orichalcum, others wanted to give him mithril rank. Regardless, they were certain that he was going to be in the top 3. As for Nyx, there was also a tense discussion, and in her case it was either mithril or orichalcum, due to her excellent control of the magic. A few hours later, Issei and Nyx were waiting for their results. As soon as they came in, the receptionist called them. Candidate 160,400, candidate 156,789, please come forward to the table, your results have arrived. Issei and Nyx nodded as they reached the receptionist. "Congratulations, you two." Issei and Nyx were given their results. As she spoke, "You both are now officially students of the Magic Academy." Both looked at their results and were stunned as it stated. "Isseihyoudou, by your prowess and display shown, you are hereby welcome into the Magic Academy. The abilities you have shown is beyond incredible. Welcome aboard, young man. Due to your current scoring, current rank is orichalcum. Scores: magic usage 90/100s, control 99/100s, destructive prowess 98/100s. Signed, the Quark, Nyx. By your prowess and display shown, you are hereby welcome into the Magic Academy. The abilities you have shown is beyond incredible. Welcome aboard, young lady. Due to your current scoring, current rank is mithril. Scores: magic usage 85/100s, control 100/100s, destructive prowess 80/100s. Signed, the Quark. Both were happy by this. They were able to get in with flying colors, as Nyx exclaimed with happiness. "We did it," Nyx exclaimed with happiness as Issei responded. "Yeah, we totally did. We can now proceed with our new lives." Nyx nodded in happiness as they headed back home to give the good news to the rest of the family. The two were being watched by Willow, who had a gentle smile on her face as she was happy for her student's success. She then spoke. "Good job, kid." Willow flew off, undetected by anyone else, as she headed back to her home to deal with someone. Scene change. Hidden location, Arcadia, 6:30 p.m. Unbeknownst to anyone, someone else also watched the initiation with great interest as he had a smirk on his face. He then spoke to himself. "You two will be useful for when I conquer Arcadia. I will need the two of you. No, you two are the key, so that I can rule Arcadia with an iron fist." The figure heads into the darkness, sinisterly smirking as if he managed to get them too. Conquering Arcadia will be much easier. Chapter 2. Magic Academy Lessons. Juniper was having a discussion with Willow, both of whom were talking about the grading examinations. Juniper held a copy of the offer letter that Issei had received in her hands. She was stunned when she heard that Issei was given the rank of orichalcum in the Magic Academy, something that only high-level mages could get. Those that could also get were those that had serious magic training. This made Juniper even more curious about this Earth. In all her life, and despite being familiar with outer space, the planet Earth was the first time she had heard of this planet that housed beings like this. She wondered where it is and if they could head there. "Willow, the kid, is he that capable?" Willow gave a nod as she spoke. Indeed, Juniper, the kid was able to generate flames that could even burn a target all the way down, not even the soul is spared, and these flames cannot be doused with regular water or even cold. Juniper was surprised by this. His potential was pretty high, and he could be pretty strong in the future. "The kid needs proper guidance, I believe. If used for righteousness, he can be one of the strongest mages Arcadia has to offer. His power is something that our enemies can use to their advantage. We must not let him and his allies fall into the right hands, but Issei is not the only one that can use this spell. Blazing inferno of scorching flames, his best friend, can also do that." Willow told her about this, with Juniper understanding who else could do it. Juniper mused in agreement, causing Willow to nod. She was aware that Issei called only one person his best friend, and that was Drag. Anyway, I will talk to the council about this, his power must be well known to the elder arcs at this point. Willow, please guide the boy, if we can get him in his full potential, who knows how strong he can get. Willow nodded in agreement as she spoke. I will not let my student fall down the path I once did. Juniper nodded in agreement, remembering her crimes as the one-winged angel. Willow soon flew off, leaving Juniper alone. She soon sighed, knowing that it will be a long day today, since the elder arcs will also see what kind of a person Issei is. They heard of the boy and had no objection of him staying here, but with the power the boy displayed, she was worried that they may be a bit weary of him. Regardless, she believed that they would make the right decision, no matter what happens. Well, time to get ready for the day. Juniper spoke as she walked out from the balcony. She saw Nicholas long gone, as he was preparing for his work as well. A few hours later, the elder arcs had gathered in the Arc Council chambers. It was described to be a royal chamber room with several holographic statues of Arcadian monarchs placed on it. It had been well decorated and had the Arc clan banners situated on it as well. Soon enough, the elder arcs decided to begin the meeting with Liam Arc, Juniper's father, beginning the meeting. Liam was described to be a blonde-haired man with white dragon horns and white scales. He also had light gray eyes. He also wore a white shirt and a brown coat, with brown pants and brown shoes. His arms had dragon scales on them as well. I believe I know why I have called you here, right? Liam spoke seriously. The boy Isseihyoudou gathered his attention. He wouldn't deny this, but the boy's power is something that can't be ignored. He wanted to know more about him. Indeed, Liam, we are aware the boy Isseihyoudou, his skills can be useful, but we must be wary. We have to guide the boy to do what is right and make his own life without a problem. The one who spoke was his wife Issei Arc and the mother of Juniper Arc. She was described to be an elf that had navy blue hair and hollow eyes. Her hair is short length and she wore a veil covering her face. She had pointed ears that had earrings on them, which were crescent moon in design. She also wore royal clothing. She wore gold ornaments, a light blue cape and navy blue shirt. His power has potentially attracted foes and friends alike, flames that can burn someone all the way down to their soul. It seems like the dragon known as Drag found a way to kill a deathless. The one who spoke was considered to be a man whose stature and look is giving off an intimidating appearance. He has black hair and bright gold eyes. He wears black robes that have gold ornaments all over him, especially in his chest where it resembles a necklace. He is Galath Arc. We should just leave him alone, he just wants to live his life without a problem. Issei spoke with some of the arcs agreeing to it. He is just a 19-year-old teenager, we should let him be, not involving him, as long as he does not intend to do so. The one who spoke was Artemis Arc, Juniper's younger sister, and Issei and Liam's youngest daughter. She was a woman of average height who gives off an appearance of a fairy. This is due to the wings that are on her back, which are blue. She has white hair tied into a ponytail, has pale skin, and bright blue eyes. She wears a light blue dress with the chest part having a floral design. But is flames, are there any limitations? Since if the boy is unable to control, he can cause some serious damage. We are just concerned that is all. The one who spoke was Elizabeth Arc, Juniper's younger sister, but she is Artemis's older sister. Elizabeth was the next to speak. She is a tall, beautiful woman with reddish-orange hair and blue eyes. Much like the other elder arcs, she is wearing a formal dress which is dark blue and has added gold ornaments around her dress. In that case, someone must talk to the boy. He cannot fall into the hands of our enemies, or they will use him against us. If he desires to live a simple life in Arcadia, we are no one to stop him. But I think we should deal with him in a friendly manner. He is not our enemy, and we shouldn't make him an enemy. The one who spoke was Arthur Arc. He was described to be a man with blonde hair, whose hairstyle is similar of that to John's. He has gray eyes and is wearing formal wear, mainly white with gold ornaments and lining all around, as well as purple clothing by his chest. He also has a hanky placed on his neck beside a necklace. Then, I will be the one to talk to him. I don't mind being friends with that boy, I can help him have a new life in this world. The one who spoke was Lupin Arc. He was a man with black hair and yellow eyes. He wears a similar outfit to that of Arthur, with the difference being it's black with a different design for the gold ornaments and the added gems. He wears a purple cloth that goes around his waist area. No, Lupin, Issei must meet someone whom he can trust, or at the very least, he has met us at least once. I would suggest Jean be the one to meet him and make him adjust to this world. He wants to live a normal life, and we should grant him that wish. The one who spoke was Julius Arc. He was a tall man with gray hair tied to a ponytail and gray eyes. He is wearing a military-type formal wear, which is that of an officer. It is colored red and black. The coat he is wearing has a floral design in the bottom part. I don't mind being there for the boy, I will let him adjust to this world until he is ready to live his life. Jean responded to Julius, as Juniper then spoke. Can I be the one to do so? Juniper's words made the council surprised at first, however they quickly realized that the Empress is the person that Issei knew the most, as Juniper stated her case. Issei knows me and my family well, so I think we should handle the boy and make him adjust, we don't mind doing so. He already is training with Willow, so I don't think there should be an issue. The council looked at each other and nodded in agreement. Very well Juniper, the boy is under your care and that includes the rest of his family as well, alright. Liam spoke seriously as Juniper nodded in understanding, with Alcy speaking. The council is now adjourned. The council soon disbands and leaves. Juniper takes a deep breath and knows that Issei is her responsibility. She knew who can help him to adjust to his new school, which was Magic Academy. It was her son, John Arc. Scene change. Magic Academy, Arcadia, 3:30 p.m. Issei and Nyx were seated in their classroom, as the one who was teaching them was Aqua Arc, the second daughter of Nicholas and Juniper. She was described to be a blonde-haired woman with grey eyes. She wore a hat on her head and a flower on her hair. She wore a military uniform, which comprised of a white and green skirt. She held a sniper rifle behind her back. She additionally wore gloves and wore 2 heels, with her left leg having a legging. So that is how you create a fire magic, a radius 20 meters and height 10 meters. If you wish to deal with a magic circle, make sure that you have enough mana to sustain yourself. Aqua explained the procedure as the students took the notes down. Aqua scanned the crowd. She knew 2 of the new students very well, that being Issei and Nyx, the duo. Issei was particularly famous for being one of the rare talents, and even rarer, that his examinees deemed him to be Orichalcum rank. The second strongest rank in all of the academy. This meant that the 2 had the highest potential. Mr. Hyoudou, can you come here? I have a problem that I want you to solve, Aqua called out to Issei, as they did. Some of the Arcadian students murmured. Hey, did you hear? One of the students spoke as another one responded. He was the first in my life that was crowned as Orichalcum upon his entrance examination. He is a prodigy. Another female student spoke as Issei seemed annoyed by the attention he was getting. I told you to not reveal my flames to them. Bestie Drag spoke telepathically with a mocking tone. As Issei retorted. Oh, shut up. Drag only responded by roaring with laughter, annoying Issei even further, as he soon reached the smartboard with Aqua asking. Say, Mr. Hyoudou, can you perform basic level water magic? Aqua then spoke with a smile, even if you can't perform, you will not be blamed, so no pressure, K. Issei nodded as he spoke. I can do it, Aqua beamed in response as she spoke. Well then, go ahead, demonstrate to the class. Issei stepped behind and generated a small ball of water magic in his palms. He then displayed it to Aqua and spoke. Like this, Professor Arc. Aqua nodded and gave him a smile. She soon spoke cheerfully. Good job, Mr. Hyoudou, you may get seated. Issei headed back and walked to his seat. As he did, he remembered more of his past. The day he was able to unlock his massive potential with magic. Flashback. Issei had a book of mana that had basic level spells. He had stolen this book from the Gremory family when they were unaware that Issei had taken the book. And they wouldn't bother since this was a low-level book. He was aware that his siblings were prodigies in magic, while he never developed any magical talent. This caused him to be ostracized from his own family. Alright, how do I even do? Issei was reading a basic spell, which was a small fireball spell. Drag then spoke to him. Partner, should we be doing this? I mean, I could change your body to allow you to have magic reserves. Issei shook his head and spoke. No, I must see whether I can still do it. Drag seemed concerned. He was unsure whether Issei would be able to perform this magic. The Welsh dragon knew the abuse Issei suffered from a very early age due to lacking any sort of talent and frowned upon his family for treating him like this. However, he was powerless to do so. Issei started writing the spell as depicted in the book, as he did in what seemed to be a small magic circle on a white glove. He soon wore the gloves and decided to try the magic. He soon snapped his fingers and then nothing happened. Issei made a sigh of disappointment. All his work went down for nothing. He wondered where he did wrong. He checked the book and saw that he had to work harder. He decided to perform some modification on the gloves, making it more intense. The ink he used was also stolen from the Gremory family without them even coming to know. Partner Drag spoke sadly as Issei tried again and failed. He did so multiple times and continued almost all day, but none of it even worked. I am sorry, Ice, it seemed like you never inherited the magical prowess your siblings have. Issei fell down in despair. He smashed the ground in anger as he exclaimed with tears in his eyes. Why is this world like this, cruel to me? What did I do to deserve this? Drag tried to calm him down. In his anger, he punched the ground one final time. All his life was nothing short of being miserable, pathetic punching bag. However, in his anger, he accidentally scorched the ground. Issei was caught off guard by this as he jumped in the air. He was shocked and stunned by this. Drake was also caught off guard as he exclaimed. I never knew. Drake once again checked his magic reserves again. From none it was overwhelming, almost on par with an high-level magician, or even way beyond that. It was so high that Drake theorized that Issei's level, if trained right, could reach a level almost on par with even the strongest of his hosts. Ahaha, you have some really amazing magic potential, even surpassing your brother and sister. You are a late bloomer Issei, and you have the potential to be a strong magician. Once this is all over, Drake exclaimed cheerfully as Issei was happy, as he wanted to calm the fire down. He learnt it was relatively easy. He closed his eyes and reduced the fire till it was doused. So what should I do? I can't let them know about this. They never saw me as their own, only caring for damn potential. Drake understood what he should do as he spoke. I know, and I would advise you to help them and let them see for themselves on what you can do, but if they only believe that pathetic excuse of your brother, then just let them do what they want. Issei nodded. It was a good thing they don't know Issei is the Red Dragon Emperor, as he soon learnt as much spells as possible and took notes. He also created several more gloves that had different magic circles on them. He practiced for days, with the gloves on for the first 2 days, before switching to using no gloves. He was able to master basic and intermediate spells relatively easy, and nobody was able to figure it out. Once he was done, he teleported back to the Gremory mansion to place the book back. He no longer had a need for it, since he had the gloves on which he could practice on. He kept the book inside along with the liquid before anyone could see. Just as he was about to leave, he heard a voice. Hyoudou, what are you doing here? The person who spoke was stated to be Grafia, is a beautiful young woman, appearing to be in her early 20s, with back-length silver hair that features a long braid on each side, with small blue bows at the ends, while the rest is let down, which ends in twin braids and silver eyes. She is seen wearing a blue and white French-made outfit with long sleeves and a white-made headband over her head with red lipstick as a cosmetic accessory. Oh Grafia, I was just reading some books, I will be taking my leave soon. Grafia nodded as she spoke with a sigh. Good thing is that you did not make a mess or ruin the room with your presence. Grafia spoke coldly, causing Issei to flinch. He hated on how cold the Gremory clan were towards him just because of some lies. I will prepare a train. Get going as soon as possible. I don't want you in this mansion. Issei looked at her and nodded. She soon left the room with Issei clenching his fist in anger at Grafia's attitude. He soon left the mansion and made up his mind. He decided to learn magic in secret. He eventually learned memory read and started seeing the memories of other magicians and learning their magic as well. Flashback ends. Issei was seated as Aqua finished her lecture. Aqua then spoke. Issei, meet me in my office, along with Nyx. I would like to have a word with the two of you. The duo looked at her and nodded. Aqua remembered the reason she had called the duo. It was on the request of her mother. Aqua soon left, with the rest of the students packing up and heading out to their own businesses, leaving Nyx and Issei alone, both of whom decided to head to the office. They headed to Aqua's office, where Issei knocked on the door. Aqua's voice was heard from the other side of the office as she finished some of her papers. She looked at the two that visited her in her office as she spoke with a smile. Ah, Mr. Hyoudou, Miss Nyx, welcome Issei. And Nyx looked at her with Issei asking. Why did you call us, Professor Arc? Aqua spoke with a small smile. Just wanted to ask, how is your time in Arcadia? Issei spoke with a good tone. It was good, this is the first time I actually felt peace in this place. Aqua nodded as she responded. That's good, so I have heard you can generate flames that is immune to any water or cold, and the only way the flames can be stopped till there was no trace of the target left, right? Issei nodded as he spoke. Blazing inferno of scorching flames, the spell was taught to me by a very good friend of mine from my old world, and yes, the flame as far as I know can even defeat gods. Aqua nodded in agreement as she spoke. You seem to have a proficiency in magic, young man, but fret not, as your teacher I shall guide you all right. Issei nodded in understanding as she turned her attention to Nyx and asked. From what I have heard from my mother, you come from the same world, Earth, as Mr. Hyoudou did, so tell me, how is your time in Arcadia? Nyx looked at her and spoke with a smile. It is good, I am at least no longer alone. I was in my own world for a very long time. Professor Arc. Aqua nodded with a smile as she then spoke. You excel in darkness magic, right? Is there any other magic that you can perform aside from darkness magic? Nyx nodded as she spoke. I can perform elemental magic as well as hypnosis and sealing magic. Professor Arc. Aqua nodded in understanding. The two that came from Earth were really adept magicians. It made her wonder if there were others that were capable of magic just as these two were. She wondered if there was a spell like Blazing Inferno of scorching flames that could destroy everything till there was nothing left. Well then, are the two of you liking the campus? You will have to stay in the dorms for a while. Issei and Nyx nodded, with Nyx speaking. I like the campus, and it is nice to be treated as a student of the academy. Aqua nodded in understanding as Issei agreed with her words. Aqua then got a message on her scroll as she had a smile on her face. "Oh, your dorms are ready, you should head there, my brother is waiting for you," Issei and Nyx understood who they were talking about. They decided to head there. They said their goodbyes to Aqua and they left the room with them walking to their dorms. Scene change. Dorms, Arcadia, 5 p.m. Issei and Nyx managed to reach the dorms, with some students talking about Issei, with his prowess in magic. It did attract the attention and admiration of many students. However, they made sure to not let Issei hear about it. But no matter what happened, Issei unfortunately heard everything and made a wry smile. He was not used to getting all this attention. Once they reached their designated dorms, they saw someone waiting for them outside. He was described to be a blonde-haired man with light blue eyes. He wore a knightly armor and a blue shirt. He held a huge broadsword in his hands. Issei noted that he emitted a strong aura. "Ah, Hyoudou, Nyx, the two of you have arrived." The man walked forward and exchanged a handshake with Issei as he introduced himself. "The name is John Ark. Aqua must have told me about you, and Mom asked me to help you settle in Arcadia. It is finally nice to properly meet you." Issei nodded in agreement as he spoke. "Indeed, John, thanks for helping us in this place. So these dorms are meant for 2 people, right?" John gave a nod as he spoke. "Yes, each dorm is meant for 2 people. There are proper beds, a television and a kitchen with all appliances, an air conditioner in each of the rooms and the hall, and finally there are 2 bathrooms for each of the people in this place. Each of the rooms and hall is well furnished and the cleaning happens once per day. Additionally, the dorms had their own Wi-Fi connection which will connect to the scrolls you have, and the dinner and lunch times are present at the table on the fridge present. Alright." Issei and Nyx nodded with John speaking with a smile. "Let me help you adjust yourself." Nyx and Issei nodded as the trio went inside. Nyx and Issei were surprised by the dorm. The television room is well furnished and had an air conditioner behind the couch at the top of the wall. It seemed like a proper home with state-of-the-art technology. "The door leads to the balcony, so I think you should visit once we are done with the settling." Issei and Nyx nodded. They were still amazed by the advanced technology that was present here. "This is the kitchen, with an oven, a microwave and a fridge. Here you can cook anything you want, although the ingredients you must buy with your own money. However, there are some basic level ingredients." Issei and Nyx nodded as John continued the tour. They headed to 2 doors, with John speaking. "Each of the rooms are similar, so I think you should take 1 room each." Nyx took the left room and Issei took the right one. John nodded as he spoke. "Come, let me show you inside." John opened the door and it showed them an additional air conditioner with a bathroom on the left side and proper technology present. There were decorations present as well. "That should settle you down. Come, let's get you properly settled." John spoke with a smile, earning a nod from Issei. They decided to put in and settling their things in the rooms. 1 hour later. With John's help, the duo were able to settle down. Nyx was grateful along with Issei as she spoke with a tone of gratitude. "Thanks, John, for helping us." John nodded with a cheeky grin. "Not a problem, it is the least I could do anyway." "Issei, my older sister Bianca wants to talk to you, so could you come for a moment?" Issei nodded as he spoke. "Sure, why not?" Issei looks to Nyx and speaks. "Nyx, can you wait for a while?" Nyx nodded as she spoke. "I don't mind, take your time." Issei nodded as John and Issei soon left the room with Nyx lying on her bed as she was now a student. Not that she minded being a student as she decided to rest for a while. Scene change. Military Academy, 6:30 p.m. John and Issei were at the academy, which was described to be a very futuristic with it being well designed. Issei noted that it looked like a sci-fi academy with several pillars and water pools designed in a manner only meant for the top notch. Whoa, Issei spoke with an odd expression to which John spoke with a smile. "That is just the beginning. Come, let's head inside." Issei looked at him and nodded. They were also walking inside. There they saw some students talking about Issei and John. Both had a name for themselves, one being the mage who reached Orichalcum in his initiation, and the other was the Prince of Arcadia, famous for his kindness. "I am so not liking this level of attention." Issei spoke with a grunt to which John spoke with a wry smile. "I'd say you should get used to it, since you did perform a very strong feat, right?" Issei looked at him and nodded. They soon walked to Bianca's office, where Bianca and Jean were waiting for him. Their room was guarded by 2 soldiers. They seemed to be wearing a futuristic armor with white cover plate and black armor. Unbeknownst to them, someone else was waiting for them as well. John knocked on the door, with a voice speaking from the other side. "Come in, I am free, John," and Issei nodded. There they saw a woman looking at them. She was described to be a tall woman with brown hair and blue eyes. A part of her is braided up in the right side and has a small gold ornament on her left side that is tied to a ribbon. She wears platinum armor with gold trimmings, with an opening in her chest area. She has no armor in her waist area or the area near her thighs and wears purple and brown robes with a belt connected to a holster for her gun and sword. She also wears 2 purple robes as a cape. She recognized Issei from her mother's description and greeted the two. "Ah, welcome, Hyoudou, John. I would like you to meet." However, before Bianca could complete, 2 voice spoke, startling the duo as well as Jean, who was also present. "Are you bucking kidding me? Her him the two shouted, garnering the attention of the other three present. The first who spoke was John, while the second is a person that of a tall woman with long straight hair, with a large fringe in the middle of her forehead. She also has blue eyes. Her clothing was a black skirt with wide-in shirt and buttons that were golden in color. She also had embroidery that was present on the black side of her skirt. She wore a blue tie and had sleeves that were white in color. She had worn black gloves as well. Is there an echo here or something? Bianca spoke, trying to look away. She was aware of the animosity between the two, as John retorted angrily. Stay out of this. Issei was stunned by this, while Jean rubbed her forehead in annoyance. She was aware that these two just did not get along. Issei looked at them and spoke. Am I missing something? John and the woman were glaring at each other, with Jean explaining to him. Issei, the one that is glaring at John is Scarlett Madison. These two have been fighting for a very long time, they just can't seem to get along. Issei nodded in agreement as Bianca spoke. Now, both of you calm down, we are on an important meeting here. Scarlett, meet Isseiwhatif, he is a new student. Issei approached her and greeted normally. It is nice to meet you, Scarlett scoffed in response as she pushed his hand away. Issei was clearly startled by this, as John responded. Hey, greet him properly, this is no way to greet a new student. Scarlett retorted in a very cold and angered manner. You may be the Prince of Arcadia, but you are no one to tell me what I need to do. Scarlett's words made both Jean and Bianca frown, while John was fuming. Issei wondered why she had this level of animosity to someone so nice. Alright, be that way. John then looked at Bianca and asked, why is she here? Scarlett looked away as Bianca spoke. John, you will be her commanding officer, and you will be part of the battalion under Officer Clover. Are there any objections? John shook his head, while Scarlett was not happy with the news, as she exclaimed. Lady Bianca, please, I beg you, I don't wish to be paired up with someone like him. John was calm, but he was not happy with how Scarlett was behaving. Even after 3 years she was still the same. I am sorry, Scarlett, but that is what the military desires. You must be a part of his battalion, alright? Scarlett scoffed at this, as she stormed out of the room with anger in her face. John glared at her for the sheer disrespect that she had for her sister and aunt, as Issei asked. John, what is her deal? Why does she have this much animosity toward you? John took a deep breath and made a tired sigh as he spoke. Nothing much, she really is a pain to deal with. Ever since grad school, she has been annoying to me and hates me just because I am the Prince of Arcadia and I am getting good grades because of that. She thinks I don't work hard at all, that is all. She is aggressive and rude to many people, but she is my responsibility, so it is my duty as the to take care of her. John spoke as Issei nodded in respect to him, as Bianca then looked at Issei and apologized. I am sorry for what happened in the office. Anyway, mother told me, have you been settling well in the dorms? Issei nodded as he spoke. I am, thanks to John, we were able to settle down relatively well. Bianca nodded with a smile, as she then removed 2 envelopes that she gave to Issei and spoke. These are your monthly expenses, each envelope has 10,000 lien each, use it wisely for your needs. You will be getting 2 envelopes each, one for you and the other for your dorm mate. Jean then spoke. If you need to know anything you can find me and Bianca here, you just let us know a few hours prior, alright? Issei nodded in understanding as he soon left the room, expressing his gratitude to the 2 women. Once he was outside, Bianca spoke. John, I should be apologizing to you as well, you will have to deal with her till you get graduated. John shook his head and spoke. No need, Bianca, I will handle her as well, she is my responsibility as well, and when I take up mother's place one day, I will be crowned emperor, I will be dealing with all sorts of people. Scarlett is one such person. Both Bianca and Jean smiled at this, as Bianca spoke. Well, here is the rest of the members of your battalion, I would say that you should get along, since you will be there with them for a very long time. John nodded in understanding and left the room, leaving the 2 women wondering on how John will be handling a tough case like Scarlett. They could only hope that things would get better for them in the future. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.